Okay, today I'm going to talk about framing of the MC8. I'm going to tell you 4 things I've learned so far in interior framing. The first is you really do not want to use a level because your bus is not level, most likely. The other is number 2 is that you do not want to attach any wood that is untreated to your frame because it will rot. Number 3, you want to attach any furring strips to the metal frame with appropriate screws that are rated for that and also the proper length. And number 4, you want to attach your furring strips but have minimal contact with the frame as possible so you can isolate the frame with insulation. Interestingly enough, one thing I did learn about building, because I am a carpenter and I'm used to using a level, when I first built this, I built it level, right? Because the bus is sitting level, right? Well, no, the bus is not sitting level. So when I did some measurements and stuff, I couldn't figure out, like the numbers weren't working out, and I'm really into numbers, and I'm like, something's wrong. So if you look at level, just put a level on this now, you can see it's out of the bubble, it's not level, right? So one thing I learned very quick, unless you've got the money to put this thing up on a stand and keep it perfectly level, which just jacking this thing up is a nightmare. What I did was I measured from left to right at the bottom, and I found a center point, and I put a nail down here, and then, which is the center point of the bus with the floor. I hook it right there, and then I got a nail up here where I hang my chalk line, and I had this a lot tighter when I was doing it. But now, if you see, so that's the center line. Now if you measure over at the bottom, that's like 14 inches there. If you measure over the top there, you're at 14 inches there. So what you are is you're keeping everything not necessarily plumb, but you're keeping it consistent with the center line of the bus.
So before Keith did the furring strips, he went ahead and framed in a pocket door between the front and the back of the bus so we could have some privacy if we had friends on the bus with us. And also he framed in a toilet and a sink area and a separate shower so that we could have access to the bathrooms, at the same time. And we might frame in the washing machine. Next up, screws.
Before I go into attaching the furring strips, I want to talk a little bit about screw types that you use. It is imperative that you use a screw that is rated for pressure-treated lumber, because that is what we were using for our furring strips. And also your screw has to have a very good self-tapping head on it or it will not go through the frame. Because it is most likely 1/8 inch steel, and also your screw cannot be too long to where it goes through your exterior skin. In my situation, my screws were 2 inches long. This next clip, I want you to notice how rusted the frame is. You have to use treated lumber, and you also have to insulate your frame completely. The furring strips on the ceiling.
But somebody else already spray foamed, so it was already spray foamed. But tell what was wrong with the ceiling before.
So one issue they had is this spray foam was done 10 years ago, which the products have gotten better, and also there's people that are better at applying it. But a couple things, as you can see here, this is an 1.5 inch square tube, so you can see here. You only maybe have a 1/2 inch of foam there, and then out here in some spots you have 1.5 inches. So it's really not a consistent foam job, and I know my guy will do a lot better job. But also the products have gotten better. But it's a good start. I'm glad that that's there, because one issue is when you spray foam these things, they say you should go around and caulk all of the joints, because what can happen is that spray foam can get between your framing member and your outside shell and it actually pop it out, which that's a disaster. So I'm glad that that first layer is in there. But one thing that they did was they put plywood, they bent 1/2 inch plywood around here and they attached it with these screws, which an issue with that is that you've got, like say on a hot summer's day, you've got the sun beating on the outside of this thing, which is gonna heat up this framing member. And then you've got wood right against it, which is just a porous plywood. And then you've got air conditioning units that are blowing cold air. So you've got cold air, then 1/2 inch away, you've got something that's hot. And what happens is you get condensation. And with condensation, you can see that you're getting rust and you're getting mold and you're getting all this stuff. This is all rusty. So one thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put furring strips in to attach my end product. And this is a treated 1-inch deck board.
So you should do treated for sure.
Treated for sure, absolutely. Treated or metal if you've got tons of money, but you know, we're trying to save some money. So this is treated deck boards. I can get a 16-footer for $10, but I can, on my table saw, I can rip it down to 3 pieces. So you get, you know, 50 feet for $10. So it's really not a bad thing. And this is pressure treated and it's really, really strong. One thing I was gonna do was I was gonna run them straight down the framing members like this, right? Screw, 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 like every couple of feet or something like that. But I decided I could do better. So what I'm gonna do is, because what you don't want is you really want this framing member to be surrounded in insulation, at least 1 inch. So what I am gonna do is, this one's already filled with foam, which is great. So I'm gonna attach one here, and this will be where my wall board comes up and attaches to here. And then I'm gonna do one right next to it to help make the curve, right? So the only place that this thing's gonna come in contact with this thing is right here, which is not too bad. So then my next one, instead of running it there, what I'm gonna do is run it right there. So when I spray foam, that'll all be covered with foam, which would be really, really nice. And then at the ribs are every 5 feet. So at the midway point, I'm just gonna do a little metal clip right here to help keep this thing from bowing when they put the spray foam in. So basically I'll put these all up. This is gonna be a job. I got boards coming here soon. But I basically have to run, I think, if you really count it, it's probably 15 strips all the way back, and this thing is 40 feet long. So you do the math, it's a lot of work.